I'm interested in your poetry collection. What were the poems about? The title?
You mean the ones I wrote?
Yeah, that you approached.
It's amazing what things people know. When I was really young, a teenager, I wrote poetry. This is a very common thing among teenagers to write poetry. It should not be encouraged. And of course, I thought I was very good at writing poetry. And there were places to give poetry readings when I was young in New York, and I would give these poetry readings, and I was so good at reading poetry that there's a very, I don't know if it still exists, a very prestigious prize at Yale, there's a Yale Younger Poets Award, and they publish the poems, and the man in charge of it at the time wrote me a letter. I saw you read, and we would love to consider your poems, which I was not surprised because I thought I was very good at writing poetry. So I sent it to him, and he, in response, he said, "These can't be the same." Because these, they're not good. I said, "Well, they're the same poems. If I could read them to you, you would see they're much better." So I wrote a collection of poetry called Poughkeepsie Blood, because my mother's sister lived in Poughkeepsie, and I was sent. My parents sent me to live there as a punishment for getting us both from high school. And if you've ever been to Poughkeepsie, it's a punishment. So I wrote this book. I came to New York, and I thought there was a publishing company called Grove Press, and it was a place you really wanted to publish your poetry. So I went to the offices of Grove Press with my poetry collection. Gave it to. They used to have receptionists, like a person whose sole job was to sit in the reception room and answer the telephone and talk to the people coming in. And I gave her this manuscript, and I said, I think I was like 19. I'm a poet. This is my poetry collection. I would like you to publish it. She said, okay, she was on the side, I didn't see it. And then I waited to hear from them, which I did 6 weeks later. We are very sorry, but we are unable to. I was, of course, shocked and devastated. But when my first book came out, one of the things I thought was, thank goodness they didn't publish that terrible collection of poetry, because now they would republish it. So I wasn't a good poet, as, by the way, most people are not good poets. Not just most teenagers. There are very few good poets. Really few. Yet there are so many poets. And especially now, now that people can kind of publish things by just putting them on the internet. So that if you are a teenager or you have a teenager, this is the thing to discourage them.